Hi everyone, it is DLZone, and in this video I will answer to the questions you asked me in the post I did a few days ago. Lorenzo. Hi, I'm trying to teach my cockatiel to come to me when I whistle, but the training is not very successful. I put her in a random spot of the room, step back to put about 2 meters of distance between us and start whistling. I reward her when she flies to me, but she flies to me even if I'm not whistling, so it seems the reward mechanism is not triggering anything in her head. Any suggestion? Thank you. Well, I don't think that's a problem at all, because in the beginning the bird doesn't know the meaning of your whistle or your recall, and it's normal that it comes to you by its own decision even if you are not whistling. And you have to use this behavior in order to teach the recall. I mean, the bird flies to you and you whistle as the bird is flying to you. So you start to associate in the bird's brain the action of flying to you with the whistle. Then you can try to anticipate the bird when you see by its body language, or you start to understand its intention that it's going to fly into you, you whistle right before that. And even if it's not coming to you because you whistle, it's still happening that it's coming to you after the whistle, and the two things start to be associated in its mind. You can do this in the beginning and be happy about that, reward when the bird comes to you. Then as you proceed with the training, you stop whistling if the bird is already flying to you, and don't reward if it's coming to you without your whistle. But when you start, you don't have to be so picky. Of course, you don't want your bird to be training you to whistle when it flies to you. But in the beginning, we have to be patient because they don't know our method of training. They don't know that we ask something and wait for them to answer to the request. They learn this method with time. If you train your bird to do other tricks, other things, it starts to understand how the training works. But if this is the first time you're training it, it's gonna be harder, and I think this is the way to go. At last, this is how I do it. Basically, it is like that. The bird has to learn that flying to you and the whistle are two things that come together. And then he has to understand that it's not him making you whistle flying to you, but it's the contrary. It's not hard at all. It may seem that in the start the bird is not understanding, but he will understand later on. Luna. How to get a picky bird eating more veggies? Mine only recognizes one particular kind of green leaves. Well, I think the way to have the birds eating veggies is to make veggies fun, because they learn to eat new things by playing with them. I think if you put the veggies in the feeders where you usually put seeds or pellets, that's not gonna be very interesting, and they are used to see other kind of food there and they won't recognize the veggies as food. But if you place, I don't know, a string in the top of the cage bending down, and you attach veggies in the string, it will look like a new toy and they will play with it, and that way they will learn to eat veggies. Of course, they will be scared as hell at first because they are scared of anything new you place in the cage, but as they get used to it, they will start to play with it, and that's how I get mine to eat veggies, usually. Sometimes it also works to pretend to be eating something and they see you eating something and come to try it as well, but not all the times. I think the most successful way is to try to make a toy with the veggies. You can also use a stick and place the veggies in the stick, or place a plate in the bottom of the cage with the veggies in it in different shapes, and they will be interested in checking out what that new thing is. It is their curiosity that drives them to try new things, not hunger, so I think the way is just this: try to make it as fun as possible. Nayali 012, if that's the way you read it. is concerned about ants. Ants being around the birds and birds possibly eating the ants or seeds where the ants have been before. I'm not concerned about the ants at all. There are ants everywhere in my yard near the aviaries. Sometimes they manage to climb to the feeders and I find some of them in the seeds, but I never had any kind of problem. Now, I don't know if it's because they are of a species that's not dangerous. There are a lot of species of ants. I have common ants in my yard, and I know there are birds that eat ants. Cockatiels shouldn't eat ants. Usually, I've never seen any of my cockatiels eating ants, but there are reports of cockatiels eating bugs occasionally. If I had to be concerned about ants, I'd be very worried because they are everywhere and really I don't know how could I prevent them from being near my birds. But in all these years it happened a lot of times to have ants and birds close together and nothing bad ever happened. These ones from Allison Queen. We have 2 tame cockatiels and 1 rescue teal who can fly and is not tame at all. She freaks out if she's away from the other 2, but they like to fly around the house. Should we get her a friend to stay in the aviary with, or just preserve trying to tame her? I think you could try and tame her because cockatiels imitate each other a lot, so she has the example of the other 2 cockatiels trusting you, and this way she's more likely to trust you as well. She sees every day the other birds coming to you and maybe eating from your hand, and so she will think you are not that dangerous after all. And if you try and train her the right way, it shouldn't take too long, in my opinion. Just don't force anything, and when you approach her, maybe trying to have her eat from your hand, use the other 2 cockatiels as well. I don't know, you put them on your hand, have them eat from your hand, and then get close to the other one. So she will see the other 2 birds on your hand and maybe she will join too. I made a video about gaining the bird's trust. Just follow that, using also the other 2 birds as an example for her. It should speed up the thing a lot. Now, if you also wanna get a friend for her, you should do this, but I think you should still keep trying to tame her, because why not? I mean, you already have her, and she's gonna live a better life if she understands that you are not a problem, not a danger, and that she can trust you. Stevie the Fool, what do you use for your cockatiels to get in that sexy eggy mood? Do you use standard breeding houses or do you make something yourself? Well, I use standard cockatiel nest boxes. And I just place the nest box in the cage so that the birds see it. And the nest box alone is already a very big trigger for the egg mood. When the male sees the nest, it usually is very interested in it immediately and starts to woo the female right after. The females start to show interest as well, and it all starts like that. But another thing that helps is longer light periods, so when there's spring, days are longer, and along with the nest, it helps going in the mood. And also having a rich diet helps to start the mating season. Supreme Cockatiel asks, do you have an email where I can send you 2 videos of my cockatiels mating so you can tell me if this time it will be successful? You can contact me on Facebook or Instagram, it's always TL Zone, but I don't think I can help about this because when the eggs are not good, it's not because the birds can't mate properly. It can be, sometimes it's like that, but it's very rare. Usually they have some kind of issue in the reproductive system and you don't see it by a video. You need further investigations from a vet, possibly. It really can be too many things. Can you do a video on how to potty train? From Handel Viola. Well, I never trained my birds like that. I never felt the need of potty training, but I think I can explain how to do it. When you are out with your bird and it didn't poop in the last 10 or 15 minutes, you can expect it to happen anytime soon. So you take the bird in the place where you want it to poop and give the cue. And maybe you have the bird on your finger, you give the cue and move it like that, and sometimes they open the wings and the poop comes right after. I don't know why, but when they have it coming and they move, the poop comes right away. And after, you give the reward and wait another 10 to 15 minutes and try this again. You take the bird to the place, you say the cue and have it to poop and reward. You do it many times. Then you can take the bird on your finger, go near to the place, not on the place, near, give the cue and invite the bird to fly. It will fly on the place and hopefully poop. You repeat and it will be every time easier. It's not something you can rely on completely. It will not work all the times, but it can be helpful, I think. Maybe I can make a video and try this out and see if it works in the future. Why not? So I'd start by trying to put it under a cue and try to build the habit of going always in the same place in order to poop. And with time the habit will become stronger and hopefully it will work as much as possible. Just remember to reward the bird every time it does the right thing. At first every time, then you can do it only once every few times, but I think that's the way. If anyone here did the potty training, just let us know in the comments so we can see how you did that. Now another question from Nialio12. Baby is 17 days old with a sibling 19 days old. 17 days old has a bald area crown and the other one seems fine. Parents are charcoal white face. Charcoal, you mean just very dark white face, I guess. And mother is cinnamon pear white face. Parents are good, they give food and everything, and stay in the nest. Okay. Well, the first thing that comes in mind is that the father could be split to Ino, and so the 17 days old could be a Lutino female or albino female, and that's why it could have the bald spot, possibly. A pic could have, definitely. You can send me one in the Facebook page, TL Zone. But you can see even by yourself, if the eyes are red and the feathers are clear, it's probably a Lutino or albino cockatiel with a bald spot. And there's nothing you should do. If the parents are good, they're feeding them, it's gonna be alright and you don't have to worry about it. It's just a tiny bald spot and nothing else probably. But yeah, feel free to send me the pic on Facebook. Other than that, it could be that the parents are plucking him behind the head and that's why you see a bald spot, but it could be just made by the parents. Or I don't know, right now I can think about these two possibilities. Now a very long question from Lana C. Lana C is concerned about diet and is asking about the pellets or sprouted seeds and supplements for the diet. Well, this is very long to answer and I'd need to make a video just to cover this question. Pellets, well, good pellets are very healthy and the bird should be fine eating pellets, but the thing I don't like about them is that they are boring, and cockatiels need to have fun while eating. They need to pick their food, and when they pick seeds, they see different seeds, different shapes, they open them in different ways, use their beak, use their mind, and that's very important for them. So yes, I use pellets a lot, and it's probably the base of the diet of my cockatiel. But I also give seeds, not as much as pellets, I just give some seeds in the evening or when I stay with them, but they enjoy eating seeds so much that I don't suggest you to remove them, just give them with moderation. Personally, I don't see the problem with them being artificial and processed, they have the right components and they have the supplements the birds need. So if you have a natural diet, you can make it perfect if you're very careful and you know perfectly what you're doing, but the risk of missing some important nutrient is there. If you give pellets, everything's already packed in there, and the risks of malnutrition are very small. I'd suggest to add pellets in the diet just to be safe, just to be sure that nothing's missing. I wouldn't and I don't use a 100% pellet diet. I use veggies, pellets and seeds. Now, I don't use sprouted seeds. I'm not against them, I think they are great, and if you are cautious and you want to use them, you can do it. Just pick good quality seeds and do the procedure the right way, because mold can be a problem. If you do everything right, it's not a big deal, but just be aware of it. A lot of people use them and use them the right way and they don't have a problem at all. I already give veggies and pellets, and so I'm comfortable with the fact that my birds are not lacking any nutrient, and I don't feel the need of adding sprouted seeds in the diet. It also saves me a lot of time, of course, because pellets are also a big commodity. They are not just an healthy food, they are something that will save you a lot of time, because sometimes you might not have the time to prepare something particular, to make a good mix of vegetables, to sprout your seeds, and you can just give pellets and the birds will be healthy anyway. And supplements to the diet: if your birds eat only the seeds and refuse to eat anything else, you should consider supplements. If they already have a very rich diet, there's no need for that, except maybe in the molting period they could use some help, sure. But even there are many kinds of pellets. For example, I have the regular pellets, I give them all the year, and then I have more nutrient pellets I give in the mating season or when they are molting. So I don't use supplements, I just change the kind of pellets. So if you have doubts, that's what I suggest. Give pellets, good quality pellets, seeds in a limited quantity, and veggies whenever they want. Escuelita Virtual. Sup boy, do you have any knowledge on why some male cockatiels are or become sterile? I experienced both. I've had males that never fertilize and males that after a few clutch won't fertilize again. Thank you. That can be because of so many reasons. It can be infection, inflammation, trauma, problems in the diet. It can also be the female and not the male that after a few clutch stops making good eggs. And you definitely need medical examination for this. I know infections and inflammations can leave a subject sterile. It happens. It happened to me that a couple stopped making fertilized eggs. They're fine, but just the eggs are not fertilized. I don't know if the problem is the male or the female, but I didn't want to split the couple, so I'm just keeping them like this. These were all of the questions. Hope you enjoyed. I answered as best as I could. Maybe in the future we'll make some more Q&A video. Let me know in the comments what you think, and see you soon in the next videos.